At 19 years old, Tom believed he was untouchable. He wasn't a gangster with guns. He wasn't a hardened criminal with scars and tattoos. He was just a kid sitting in his bedroom with a laptop. But that laptop became his weapon, and in a single night, he stole $50 million. For a few months, he lived like a ghost millionaire, quietly enjoying luxuries while hiding behind fake names and digital wallets. But arrogance is poison. Tom thought nobody could catch him. He thought he was smarter than the world. And all it took was one mistake, a single careless login, to bring the FBI crashing through his door. I'm Santa, and tonight, I'll tell you the story of Tom, the 19-year-old hacker who thought he had hacked the system itself, only to discover that the system always fights back. Tom's obsession with computers started young. At 12, while kids were out playing basketball or chasing each other on bikes, Tom was hunched over an old desktop, exploring the internet's hidden corners. He wasn't social. He wasn't popular. But online, he was powerful. He learned how to crack simple passwords, steal video game accounts, and prank people by hijacking their emails. At first, it was fun, harmless, in his mind. But for Tom, every success wasn't just a win. It was proof. Proof that rules didn't apply to him. Proof that he was smarter than everyone else. By 16, he wasn't just a prankster. He was running scams. He sold stolen Netflix accounts, hacked PayPal logins, and built fake websites to trick people into handing over their credit card numbers. He made small money, but it wasn't about the cash. It was about the thrill. Every time he beat someone, every time he tricked the system, he felt invincible. And that hunger for invincibility grew until it consumed him. The opportunity came late one night. Tom was digging through outdated web pages, abandoned links most people ignored. And then he found it. A login page. Plain, boring, hidden deep in the financial site of a mid-sized company. To anyone else, it looked useless. To Tom, it looked like a key. He studied it for days. The page wasn't secured. The encryption was old. And with a little brute force, Tom slipped inside. Suddenly, he wasn't looking at some random page. He was inside the company's live system. At first, he only explored. He read logs, checked employee schedules, and peeked into transaction records. He didn't touch anything. Not yet. But the deeper he looked, the more he realized how fragile the system was. Transactions under certain amounts weren't flagged for review. Night activity wasn't monitored closely. Security was sloppy. The company had millions moving every day, and nobody was watching carefully enough. Tom didn't just see numbers. He saw opportunity. For weeks, Tom prepared. He created fake identities, set up burner emails, opened shell accounts. He tested the system with tiny transfers, $10 here, $20 there. Nothing happened. No alarms. No warnings. He waited. Still nothing. That gave him the confidence he needed. And then, on one cold night, Tom launched his plan. He divided $50 million into hundreds of small transfers, each one small enough to stay invisible. 12 minutes later, it was done. He sat back, staring at the screen, barely breathing. He had just stolen a fortune. His first move was to launder it. He funneled the transfers into cryptocurrency wallets, bouncing them across mixers, fragmenting them into smaller chunks, and hiding them in layers of fake accounts. To Tom, it felt brilliant. To Tom, it felt perfect. And for a while, it was. Tom didn't act like a Hollywood criminal. He didn't buy a Ferrari or throw parties. But he couldn't resist temptation. Quietly, he started tasting the life he had only dreamed of. He ordered designer sneakers shipped under fake names. He wore luxury watches bought with crypto. He took weekend trips to other states, staying in high-rise hotels and paying in cash. He rented a penthouse suite once, just to stand at the window and look down at the glowing city lights. Nobody knew. Nobody suspected. To the world, he was still just a 19-year-old kid. But inside, he felt like a king. And that was his mistake. Because kings always draw attention. Inside the financial company, an analyst was reviewing reports when he noticed something small. An account balance didn't match. At first, it looked like a glitch. But the more he checked, the stranger it became. Transfers that didn't belong. Transactions always happening late at night. Always just under the review limit. The company launched an internal audit. Within days, they realized the truth. $50 million was gone. Panic spread. They called the FBI. The FBI's cybercrime unit took over. They didn't rush. They knew hackers always made mistakes. They started by tracing the missing funds. Crypto was supposed to be safe, anonymous. But the FBI had tools most people didn't even know existed. They mapped blockchain movements, flagged suspicious wallets, and tracked patterns. Tom thought he was invisible. But his transactions had fingerprints, not physical ones, but behavioral ones. Transfers happened in bursts, late at night. Then silence. Then another burst. To the FBI, it looked human. It looked like a teenager juggling his fear with his excitement. The FBI set up surveillance. They identified accounts linked to the stolen money, flagged purchases, and began watching. A luxury watch Tom bought with crypto? Tracked. Expensive electronics shipped to a fake address in a city? Logged. And then came the fatal mistake. One night, Tom's VPN failed. He didn't notice. He logged into one of his wallets from his home IP address. In that moment, the FBI had him. They tied the login to his house. They pulled his internet records. They mapped every digital move he had made. And then they waited. Tom had no idea he was being hunted. He felt untouchable. He even started bragging online under fake usernames, hinting that he had cracked systems bigger than anyone else dared touch. He felt like a ghost, laughing at the world. But the FBI was already at his door. At 5 a.m, they moved in. A SWAT team surrounded the house. The door exploded open. Agents stormed in. Tom was at his desk, half asleep, his laptop glowing. Before he could react, he was on the ground, cuffed, surrounded by shouting voices. His drives were seized. His wallets frozen. His empire collapsed in seconds. The trial was brutal. Prosecutors presented mountains of evidence. Wallets linked to stolen funds. IP logs from his home. Chat records where he bragged anonymously. Forensic teams showed how his fake accounts tied back to him. The defense tried to paint him as a confused teenager. Just a kid who didn't understand. But the jury didn't buy it. Tom wasn't confused. He was calculated. He wasn't curious. He was greedy. The verdict: guilty on all counts, fraud, money laundering, and unauthorized access. The sentence: years in federal prison. No parole. No second chances. Tom's stolen millions? Some of it was recovered. Most of it wasn't. Frozen in crypto wallets nobody could unlock. The company's reputation? Destroyed. Investors lost trust. Clients left. And Tom? He traded his luxury sneakers for prison shoes. His penthouse views for barred windows. His glowing laptop for gray walls. Tom thought he was smarter than the world. He thought he was untouchable. But every crime leaves a trail. And for Tom, that trail was one careless login. I'm Santa, and that was the story of Tom, the 19-year-old hacker who stole $50 million and lost it all. If you enjoyed this story and don't want to miss the next one, subscribe to the channel and hit like. And tell me in the comments, if you were in Tom's place, what would you have done differently?